If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
The question, how do I overcome my mild social anxiety and stop being so shy? Answer by Carol Sayre. I also used to feel like everyone was looking at me when I was in a social situation or a crowd. It was tough. I guess my first advice would be, go easy on yourself and try not to judge yourself for being anxious. A lot of my social anxiety let up quite a bit when I learned to do that. I had help from a therapist to learn that, by the way, although I'm sure some people can do it on their own. I always try to tell myself, even when I'm feeling in some way that seems unreasonable, I'm still a good person, I still deserve understanding and compassion, I'm okay the way I am. Not that I want to stay the way I am forever, but I do find that accepting myself as I am right now helps me have more joy and energy to do the hard work of changing myself. If that makes any sense. A second thing I did to lessen my social anxiety was to relate to people in roles, specifically my jobs. As a typist and receptionist, it was easy to answer the phone once I realized that 99% of the time, people expect a receptionist to answer the phone and take the message. This was in the days before ubiquitous voicemail, in a certain formalized way. There was kind of a script that most receptionists follow unconsciously, a certain tone of voice, etc. I learned the script of whatever job I was doing and I was fine with talking to strangers all day long. Talking to friends in social situations, however, was another story, but talking to strangers is a lot easier for me now than it used to be. The third and last thing that I can think of is, I started to work with people who are blind and visually impaired. Now, I know not every shy person will have the extreme good fortune to be able to have a career like this, but hear me out, I actually found that the more I worked with these, generally, nice people, the easier it was for me to not worry about what the expression on my face was showing, what my clothes might be saying about me, how stupid my hair made me look that day, whatever, it was cool. It was like learning to appreciate people, and be appreciated by them, strictly on the basis of who I was, not who I looked like. It definitely helped me come even more out of my shell. But for a person who doesn't work with people who are blind or visually impaired, how can they use this advice? Well, I think any job in which we're directly helping people can lower self-consciousness. Consider working in any of the other helping professions like medicine, teaching, working with people who have other disabilities, etc. I found that whenever I was helping someone, that feeling I used to get of, I don't deserve to be talking to this person who's obviously superior to me would usually melt away, and I could look at it and see it for the silliness that it was. Answer by Sandeep Singh. Source, personal experience. Since it is mild anxiety and not severe, you're in luck. It should be quite straightforward for you to bring forward your true self and let go of your anxious self. You have two options. 1. Change your psychology and cognitions to do bioenergetic exercises. Check out a man called Elliot Hulson. In his words, anxiety operates on two fronts, intrinsic and extrinsic. Since your anxiety is mild, I personally think one can override the other. I would go for option number 2 purely because it is something physical that you can do. But that depends on whatever you feel more comfortable with. The exercises before you decide. Answer by Steve McDowell. I'll apologize in advance for this heavy-fisted approach. I'm shifting identities like a chameleon on a 70s disco floor today. So pick a sweet corn out of it if you can. Number 1. Avoid all the life coach nonsense. Charlatans, the lot of them, unless they are 90 years old and lived a full life. The majority of advice is either counterproductive or specific to themselves. Number 2. Ditch the idea that anything you see, read or hear in the media is true about society, as it simply isn't. They just want everyone to buy into their idea. The best people in the world are those who refuse to be the media's sheeple. Number 3. Figure out what you actually want out of your social life. Keep asking but why? Until you really get to the root of it all. Will take at least 5 iterations, and then do it again but more truthfully. Number 4. Spend some time determining what it is about yourself that your subconscious is trying to tell you / warn you about. Then either accept it as you and be proud as punch, or change it if it's all a bit fake to your true self and you are simply in fear of being called out for it or discovered. Number 5. Even if everyone is looking at you, unless they are all being vocal about it every single time, you have no way of knowing whether they really are, and even if they are, it's none of your business what they think in all honesty, or indeed whether it's because they are interested in a good way. Number 6. Do you spend a fair bit of time scrutinizing / judging / looking at others? If so, That's probably a big part of the problem, and you're projecting that bad trait onto everyone else and presuming they do the same thing. Work on that first, and then often the social anxiety dissipates to a natural level. Number 7, simply because I'm obsessed with the number 7. D. All in all, maybe's the best advice is, everyone is exactly the same. The trick is to work on being happy with who you are deep down. Confidence then follows. Now chin up and go get M.